Authenticity and expressiveness are not as complicated on the guitar as many people think. It's just that when we study these things, we tend to get our intellects involved a lot, and we're thinking about scale patterns, and we're trying to think about things like, are the scale degrees flat? Dorian has a major sixth, and we're trying to rationalize all that stuff as we play. And so that is basically going to be impossible to keep up with actually thinking about everything theoretically and intellectually that's happening on your guitar as you're playing. In my experience, the best way to get beyond that is to train your hands to be able to do these things without the help of your intellect, without the help of your rational mind at all. So there's a lot of practice, but we want to make sure that the practice is exactly optimized towards what we're trying to achieve, which ultimately is being able to play authentically and with expressiveness. I've found there are 3 specific tools that get you out of this jam every time. First, there's 5 octave patterns, and they look something like this. Octave pattern 1, octave pattern 2, octave pattern 3, octave pattern 4, and then octave pattern 5. So if you know those 5 octave patterns, then you're off to a great head start, because the 5 major scale patterns, which is really where you do a lot of your solo work, those correlate to these 5 octave patterns, right? So if you know how to match them up, then you can navigate the fretboard a lot more easily. But more importantly, you can do it with your hands. Your hands can actually automate the process. You can actually get familiar enough with these patterns that when you're playing, your hands are doing all of the thinking. And that frees up your mind to focus on your authenticity, your expressiveness, to play with feeling, right? To bring your interpretation into your performance. So let's do a simple demonstration. Let's say that I'm playing with a buddy. We're playing some blues in the key of D, right? Well, I can find any D anywhere on the guitar, but a lot of guitarists know this D. Now, this D correlates to octave pattern 1, okay? And octave pattern 1 correlates to this scale, which some of us know as scale pattern 1, or some of us know it as the Phrygian mode. But either way, whatever way you want to think about it, that scale pattern correlates to this. And when you play it, what's going to happen is that you're playing in the key of D, right? So everything that you're doing is going to sync right up with what me and my buddy are playing. And if that's scale pattern 1, then I know scale pattern 2 as well, or scale pattern 3. Now, if you don't know these scale patterns, then you can click on a link in the description below, and you can find out more about free training that I have and also an Express Premium training that I have. And both of those will teach you these 5 scale patterns. But here's the thing, is that knowing those octave patterns, part of what that brings to the table is that you'll know exactly what notes to end your guitar phrases on. Have you ever been in that situation where, yeah, you know the scale patterns and you're running the scales up and down, but it doesn't sound like a guitar solo, it sounds like you're running scales, right? Well, that's because you are running the scales. But when you know where those notes are in the octave patterns, you can resolve any one of your phrases to one of those notes. You're essentially resolving to the root of the key. It's going to sound musical, it's going to sound grounded, it's going to be a great point of resolution. So between these scale patterns and the octave patterns, you not only get a way to free up your mind and start playing more authentically, but you also get a great way of navigating the fretboard that focuses on musicality. I want to leave you with a quick exercise. Let's pick another note. Let's pick something crazy like the key of D flat. Well, I'm going to find my D flat here, and I'm going to know that that goes with octave pattern 2, and I'm going to know that that goes with this scale, right? That is scale pattern 2, and I'm going to be able to jam out in the key of D flat in that scale pattern. If I can find 2, I can find 3 or 4 or 5 or 1, right? So I can find any one of these scale patterns up and down the neck, and all I had to do was find 1 D flat. So you run that exercise over and over again. Try it out for yourself in any key. And if you still need to learn these octave patterns and scale patterns, or maybe you're rusty on them, click on the link below. I have free materials and premium materials that are both designed to help bring you up to speed so that you can run through this exercise. If you know what I'm talking about and it all makes perfect sense to you, that's great too, because that means that you're that much closer to developing the authenticity and expressiveness on guitar that you probably are looking for. I hope this lesson has helped you out. I'm looking forward to publishing more like this down the road. And please keep in touch, reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm glad to help. Leave a comment. And I check back here pretty regularly. So thanks and good luck with your guitar playing.